So let's go into the backlogs, because that for me is quite an interesting situation.
Mm.
The backlogs amount to something like 60,000 visa applications for various categories, as you've explained. Tell me about why we have this backlog. I remember the minister talking about this, pointing to issues around the backlogs that happened as a result of COVID, the backlogs as a result of the migration from manual filing systems to electronic filing systems, pointing out that this is not a uniquely South African problem, that it's happening even in some of the more developed countries. But you give us a sense. 60,000 visas that have been applied for. And I imagine that may include people that have applied for the ZEP visa changes that have been on everybody's lips here in South Africa.
Absolutely. It definitely includes ZEP holders and the visas that they've been applying for, the concessions that they've been applying for. I think there was an announcement earlier this month where the minister said they're getting more than 1,000 applications from ZEP holders every day that are being included in this visa backlog now. So the numbers are high. I concur that it is not just South Africa. We see numbers from all around the world that are backlogged and dealing with severe delays in terms of processing their visas. So we are most certainly not alone. It has, however, grown significantly worse in the last 18 months, where we saw a centralised adjudication system that failed, and then the reversing of that system, and now working through that backlog. We know there's been many measures that have been put in place, a backlog eradication project, and a lot of effort being put in by the department to try and clear the backlog. But I do think it's going to be with us for many months still, as the department works through it in terms of clearing it, while at the same time dealing with all the new applications that are received on a daily basis. So it's not like we can put pause on and say, okay, let's catch up, and then we deal with new applications. We have daily new applications while working on the backlog, which certainly amplifies the problem.
1,000 applications for the ZEP per day? Is that the number that I heard you stipulate?
That is the number that the minister announced, yes.
And this is obviously after something happened, because I remember the minister himself saying at a certain point in time that at that point, only 8,000 people out of the 187,000 people had applied. Why the sudden change in the number of people that were applying?
I think as the court case, which now of course has since been finalised, but as that court date came closer and closer, and people became more and more nervous, and there's been more and more media around shedding some light on it and busting some of the myths around why people were not applying for the visas. I think so more and more became comfortable with making those applications, and as a result we saw more and more people applying for it, which I think is hugely positive.